Church let out at noon. Lunch dishes clattered in the sink. But by 4 o'clock, an entire state was silent, waiting for the 4 chimes of Denny Tower. Before SportsCenter ever filled our Sundays, there was the Bear. When Paul Bear Bryant returned to Alabama in 1958, he brought more than a playbook. He brought an idea to let fans inside the huddle every Sunday. And one of his old classmates had just the know-how to make it happen.
When Coach Bryant came in 1958, he wanted to do a show. I don't know whether he'd done a show at Texas A&M or not, but he wanted to do a TV show. And he and Mr. Frank Taylor were classmates at Alabama. And Mr. Frank Taylor told the story this way. Mr. Taylor was prematurely gray. He was gray-headed in college. And he said, I was sort of an oddity. And he said, Paul was an oddity because he was so dadgum big. He said he was a foot taller than everybody else. And he said, which sort of bothered me because we were sort of oddballs, you know, and he said, so we became good friends. So when Coach Bryant came back to Alabama, somebody mentioned, hey, Frank Taylor Advertising. And so he called Mr. Taylor and he said, you're in the advertising business. I want to have a TV show. Can you handle it? And of course, Mr. Taylor had 5 clients at the time. Now listen to who those were. Golden Flake, Coca-Cola. That's where Great Bear says the bear. Mr. Taylor came up with that line. But 2 of our 5 clients were Coca-Cola, Golden Flake. Then we had Red Diamond Coffee. And then we had Ziegler's Meat Pack. And Coach Bryant was associated with 3 of them. And so it was sort of like having Coach Bryant's advertising agency in Birmingham.
Frank Taylor ran a small Birmingham advertising agency representing Coca-Cola and Golden Flake. Bryant had the charisma. Taylor had the cameras. Together, they created a Sunday tradition. Taylor's slogan, "The Great Pair Says the Bear," married America's favorite coach with its favorite snack. And by 1960, the Bear Bryant Show went statewide, bringing Alabama football into living rooms across the South.
If you worked for Frank Taylor, you were going to work the Sunday show or work the Saturday film crew. So it was all part of the part and parcel of the working for Frank Taylor Advertising. But it was wonderful. It was a chance of a lifetime to be associated with the university and Coach Bryant and all that history.
Film crews traveled with the team, shot the game, and raced home overnight. By dawn, reels were processed, plays logged by hand, and scripts typed on carbon paper. The show aired live at 4, no retakes, no delays. Every Sunday was a miracle of timing and caffeine.
We had about 4 hours to get the tape ready. And sometimes it was, hey, we got 2 minutes and we got to finish this thing. And we'd go in there and we didn't know whether we had splashed it strong enough. And on occasion it would break. We'd go to a commercial break, but not very often. But sometimes it just happened because it was so random the way we were doing.
With 6 live feeds and Bryant talking faster than any clock could handle, the crew improvised their way into television legend.
But the interesting thing was, when we moved to Channel 6 at 12 o'clock, we started getting complaints from churches and restaurants and country clubs because they weren't coming out no one was going out to eat because they had to get home to see the show. And people were leaving church early. So some of the churches changed their 11 o'clock service to 10:30. The country club and the restaurants started putting televisions in their restaurants. And so we claim we invented the sports bar.
Attendance dropped in pews and roast beef went cold because the tide was on. In its prime, the Bear Bryant Show outrated the National Football League.
We would have 15 ratings and 85 shares. Nationally, they took nationally they had the syndicated television sports shows. And you had to be on 6 stations, and you couldn't be a network broadcast. It had to be a show. And we would win that every year as the highest rated nationally.
From Huntsville to Mobile, the Bears' voice carried like a hymn. Coach Bryant didn't just analyze plays, he preached lessons.
He used the show to send messages to the players, to the coaches. Coach Mel Moore told me that they would never miss a show because it would tell them what kind of practice they were going to have on Monday and who was in good graces and who wasn't. And he said they all watched that show religiously. And he used it as a recruiting tool. He was very down home and easy to approach. And he was very, very good at using the show as a PR for his team and recruiting. One thing, remember back then, there was no ESPN. And this was the first time even Coach Bryant had seen the show.
It wasn't only a broadcast, it was leadership in real time. Live television didn't leave much room for surprises, but Coach Bryant managed a few.
He would smoke, and then we had a big, tall ashtray that sat in between he and Charlie. And somehow a piece of paper got in there, and he threw his cigarette in there when we came back live, and all the smoke and flames were coming out. And Charlie never said a word. He picked up his Coke bottle and just poured it all. And as far as anyone could see, he was just pouring it on the floor. But it was live, and that's what you had to do.
The Bear was unflappable, so was his crew. More than a football show, it was the first blueprint for modern sports television, coaches' shows, highlight packages, fan access. Today's wall-to-wall coverage started here under bright studio lights in Birmingham.
It was very down home and easy to approach.